Hey there.
Welcome to the Gunning Truth with Roni, and it's time to discuss all things Arsenal. A very good win for Arsenal last night against Crystal Palace, Crystal Meth FC as some people like to call them. A team that must be respected because Arsenal tended to struggle at Selhurst Park, especially on those evening games. We played them Friday night last season, beat them 2-0. And this season on a Monday night, breaking the Arteta voodoo on a Monday evening where Arsenal have played 4 times under Arteta and lost all 4 times. I think 2 times might have been against Crystal Palace, or probably once, but 4 losses on a Monday evening, and on the 5th occasion, another one of those voodoo records broken by Mikel Arteta. So let's see how it went. Right, so obviously Arsenal, let's put that team sheet first up. Where is it? Arsenal lineup formation. Let me close this thing. Let me see, there we go. Right, so here's Arsenal's lineup for the game. So once again, lots of issues from supporters before the game. So normally it happens like this. So you've got the pictures that comes out a day or two before the time. Then there's panic because, first of all, you can't really, well, you can, or you can just be quite smiley, as I like to call it, with regards to how Arsenal take the pictures and release it, and then from there onwards people tend to panic as to who's not in training. So Saliba in the initial pictures wasn't pictured training, and Thomas Partey as well. So now it sounded like they're out for the game because they haven't been pictured. Loads of other players weren't pictured as well, and then obviously everybody got pictured the day before, so the panic started there. Then you've got this one account or individual that tends to follow the team around, and we'll leave it just at that. And that individual said that this and that is then not training. So in this case it was Kieran Tierney that wasn't going to be in the squad. So I don't see the necessity in all this nonsense before the game. Why is it that we need to know that this one isn't in the squad? Then it's mass hysteria and mass panic because this one isn't there. Then the nonsense of the Saudi Arabian president or somebody that is in charge of the Saudi Pro League was apparently in London to discuss Gabriel Magalhaes to Al Ittihad or Al Ittihad. I think it might be Gerrard's team. Who's also looking for a centre-back, and they're likely going to get Marquinhos from PSG. And also Real Madrid has got an issue with, is it Ada that's injured? Ada Militao, that's out probably for most of the season, and now 1-1 gets put together. Arsenal have decided not to play Gabriel in this first 2 games because against low block teams, they want to dominate the midfield. So they want to get another body in. And obviously White and Saliba, in terms of centre-backs, they're just as quick as Gabriel, but they tend to pass the ball out better because we are trying to get to a point where we don't struggle with teams with low blocks. Now, there are periods in the game where we struggled in the sense that we had most of the ball against Forest and against Crystal Palace last night. But we seem to be lacking up front with regards to being clinical and with regards to having that killer instinct. So once again, that wasn't prevalent in this game. We didn't kill the teams off. Nketiah had 2 great chances. The first one was very difficult. Some people say that he should have maybe tried to go underneath the keeper. That would have been difficult. The keeper very likely would have gotten a foot there. He actually did have a good game. So once again, that's probably not going to work. And then obviously there was no other way. I couldn't see how he could get the ball, because the keeper's foot also would have been in the way again. If he got the ball closer to the keeper's foot, then that ball would have gone out the other way. So I don't think there was any way that he was going to score that goal. The best way was obviously for the ball to go against the post, and then obviously not on target. The second chance should have scored. Fantastic work from Rice. Rice is going to improve also in the box as well. So that's something to look forward to in the season in terms of how he develops, especially if he plays the 8 role, but obviously brilliant at in the 6 role. The second chance Nketiah should have taken. And this is where the world-class striker issue comes in. And to be fair and honest, Jesus has also missed some clear-cut opportunities as well. So we cannot criticize Nketiah too much. But Jesus, obviously a different type of player and just special, especially when he dominates games as well from an attacking standpoint. But furthermore, Nketiah had a very good game. I thought Martinelli and Saka up front, as you see there, I thought they were not as busy as they were against Forest. So Saka, I thought the left back, Mitchell, was absolutely fantastic for Crystal Palace. He really did look after Saka quite well. And then obviously they had Decore and Lerma, who were the two holding midfielders, ball-playing midfielders that can tackle. So obviously Lerma more towards the Martinelli side, and then obviously Ward was the right back for Crystal Palace, and then Mitchell and Decore towards the Saka side. So I thought what could have been vice versa. But either way, they always had two men on our wide players because they noticed that our wide forwards were brilliant for large parts against, let's say, the first half against Nottingham Forest. So they noticed that part. I thought Ødegaard and Havertz were a little bit quiet from a attacking, creating standpoint. Obviously, Ødegaard scored the penalty, and then Declan Rice was absolutely superb. He portrayed centre-back roles. He covered left-back. He played his 6 role, and then he played the 8 role when Thomas Partey pushed up. So, yeah. This whole tangent came from the whole Gabriel situation. So obviously loads of people linking him to Saudi Arabia. Arsenal continue to say that he's not for sale. We're not looking to lose our key players. We are looking to offload players. That's not really part of the plans at this moment in time. Because then you could have said about Smith Rowe and Vieira, who hasn't really had much game time as yet. Their time will come, in my opinion, as the season goes on. But, we need to stop this. It's not going to stop. It's social media in 2023, but we're going to have constant leaks before the game in terms of, and the people that I follow, they actually have been right this last couple of games up until... the Crystal Palace game, the Man City Community Shield game, they were right before the game, an hour before the game. 2 hours before the game, because an hour before the game, they announced the team sheets. They were right in the Forest game 2 hours before the game, and they announced the team, or let's say the key decisions. They announced that as well before the game against Crystal Palace last night. But I was personally very happy. I did my Monday reaction video. I actually did it today because obviously Arsenal played Monday night. So I'm recording this Tuesday show, which goes out on a Wednesday. And I had to do the video over a couple of times because the other microphone I used, for some reason, the volume was on mute. So I had to redo, and the first video was better than the second video. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Ramsdale in goal. I thought he was okay because he didn't need to be brilliant. I thought Arsenal defended well for most of this game. 90% of the time we defended well. When we were in trouble, we were able to have last-ditch tackles, i.e. Saliba. And obviously in the last 5 to 10 minutes, we had a couple of incidents in the penalty box, which obviously rose the blood pressure levels and the heart rate levels. But I think we were okay. Deserved winners, very dominant in the first half. And then, so obviously, as you can see by this graphic, I've pushed Thomas Partey into an area there where there's a lot of field position. So you can see lots of, not field position, but a lot of open spaces. So if a team that, you can't play this against a team that doesn't have a low block and that has got very good wingers. So i.e. We can't play this formation against Man United in 2 weeks' time because it doesn't matter whether we rate Anthony, Garnacho, Sancho and these guys. They beat us in pre-season when we didn't play the inverted right back role. So hopefully that it's not an experiment. It's something that Arsenal's going to do against low block teams. It's possible that won't happen this Saturday, and I'll do my match preview to Fulham on my Thursday podcast, which I post on a Friday on Spotify and iTunes. I will go into a tactical deep dive for the Fulham game. But now I can tell you that I think that Zinchenko will play, and we won't do it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to do with the midfield. It will probably be Thomas, Rice, Ødegaard. So Havertz will go out, and I'm assuming Ben White will go to right back, and you'll have Saliba and Gabriel at the two centre-backs. Obviously, last season against Fulham, Gabriel made a mistake and scored the late winner. So Tomiyasu is suspended, a yellow card. Sure, I've heard so many opinions now over the last 24 hours. I like to watch fan channels, but more so for the weird ways that these people are at the ground and they are seeing things differently. Obviously, you have to respect that because they get to see more than we do that watch it on TV. But the opinion sometimes is quite strange, and it's completely the other way around than other people that was also at the ground. So it's amazing how opinions work in life. However, we all agree that, first of all, okay, well, not everybody agrees. So the Tomiyasu situation, there were incidents where Arsenal were a little bit in time wasting because we were leading 1-0. Once again, I'm not 100% happy with how we are, how can I say, managing games. Especially, we've now gone ahead in both games. So 2-0 against Forest and 1-0 against Crystal Palace. So I didn't like how we played. So 2 to 3 minutes after we were 1-0 up, we were a little bit deep, allowed Ayew. I keep calling him Andre. It's actually Jordan Ayew. We kept allowing him to have one-on-ones with Tomiyasu for some reason. They were okay. I thought Crystal Palace weren't great. They were okay. But Arsenal dominated the ball. In the first half, looked very good. Should have obviously scored certain opportunities. Should have been, let's say, 3-0 up by the time the yellow card happened. So let's say we should have been 3-0 up at that stage. And then the first yellow card, time wasting. So maybe the referee got a little bit irritated. Well, somebody said that he got a little bit irritated. The crowd started getting onto him, especially when Arsenal were wasting time here and there, tried to do the dark arts, which I don't think we've mastered because we still getting, well, last season less so, but this season, the dark arts, we need to master that. It wasn't great in the first 20 minutes of the second half against Forest, but the second 20 minutes. And then again, I was very happy with the 10 to 15 minutes, the grit that we showed in this game. And then the second yellow card. Now, this Ayew guy, once again, he was very prevalent in this game. He barely got touched by Tomiyasu, and Tomiyasu got a second yellow card and then sent off. So VAR, according to my knowledge, they don't check up on yellow cards. They only check out on the big moments, so red cards and all that. So in my opinion, this was a big moment because obviously Arsenal were leading only 1-0. Their fault or our fault for not finishing the game off. Same story last week. So there's a little bit of a repetition situation going on here. So hopefully on Saturday we sort out Fulham and we actually win the game early so that we can get the likes of Vieira and Smith Rowe on. That's if they don't start. I doubt they will. But we need to finish these teams off. It's something that I've been saying for quite some time now. Even when we were controlling and dominating games in let's say, the second half of last season, unfortunately, we still didn't do the job. And that means killing off teams. That's the only concern that I've got. We're not quite there yet, but it will get there. So we will get that killer instinct. This team will develop, and Havertz will get better. Odegaard will continue to do his thing. And then Saka and Martinelli, they're going to be dangerous again if both of them start on Saturday. And then Nketiah will probably play up front again due to the fact that I don't think Jesus will be ready till he might train next week. There hasn't actually been news on if he is. Maybe it is. I'm starting to think now that he might only come back after the international break. So he might not be ready for that Man United game early September. So maybe it is that they're going to just keep him back even a little bit more. Because obviously Nketiah started last season against Man United and he scored the two goals, scored the first goal and he scored the winner. So maybe it is that Arsenal will keep things as it is. Maybe there's a wide forward that comes in that can play through the middle. Maybe Trossard plays a little bit through the middle. So Trossard deserves to start playing as well. So we've got options, and I actually saw quite a exciting bench yesterday when the likes of Man City had kids on their bench. They still have a fantastic first team, still control the game well against Newcastle United, still have 6 points in 2 games, still looking good. Play Sheffield United on Saturday. They will very likely win that one, strongly likely win that one and go to 9 points. Robotic team with a robot up front and a robotic system, but I'm not dissing them. They are the champions. I respect them. I don't respect the behind the scenes stuff and how they got there, but I respect them for what they've achieved. So I'm not dissing them. They are just robotic, and that's how it is. So hopefully Arsenal don't become that robotic nature, especially with this inverted right side that we're trying to play. But just based on what I see on the slide here, I would obviously like us to go back to the conventional 4-3-3, where we have the 6, Thomas Partey in the 6, maybe Declan Rice in the left 8, and Odegaard obviously right 8, Saka, and then continue Nketiah because I like what I'm seeing. He just needs to finish, and then possibly, but you can't drop Martinelli. First of all, he was pissed off when he came off yesterday, but then again, Trossard as well. He's also key, so I don't know. I might want to play Rice in the 6 and Trossard in the 8 and rest Thomas Partey. That could also be something, but that's something I'll think about come my podcast on Thursday, which I drop on Friday. So we'll see how that one goes. Let me just get the slides up as I continue to line up formation off, slides back on. There we go. Odegaard, fantastic penalty. Once again, just my thoughts on Odegaard's performance. There was a couple of people that thought he was man of the match. I didn't see that. I thought he was a little bit within himself in terms of obviously very busy, always pressing. He leads from the front with regards to his pressing. I like his captaincy. Fantastic penalty that he scored. So it wasn't his greatest game of all time, but he wasn't bad either. I just thought that I wanted more from Havertz and Odegaard in this game. I love the team spirit that we have also. We've got obviously 2 new players in that little bunch there, and there's Tomiyasu coming running on. But a 1-0 win for Arsenal. I thought we were good. I don't think we were exceptional. I think we can still obviously improve when it comes to the attacking side of things. I don't want to keep on harping on the fact that I think we need to make sure that we are continuing to dominate these games. It's very important that we dominate these games, and especially the low block teams. But it's going to also be interesting when a team comes out a little bit. How are Arsenal going to adapt to the game? And then just also to think about our substitutions. Jorginho did well when he came on. For some reason, I don't know why, I keep forgetting who the subs are when they do eventually come on. But I would like to obviously see Vieira a bit more. I would like to see Smith Rowe a little bit more. And just on Martinelli, seeing that I'm seeing him, he was extremely pissed off when he had to come off. So personally, I just thought that they had they were kept quiet by good defenders. The way that Hodgson was able to have Decore and Lerma assisting Mitchell and Ward in with regards to watching Martinelli and Saka. Because they were good, they weren't great, but that's mostly because I thought the defensive half of Crystal Palace were good. Gay and the other centre-back, Anderson, they're very good as well. Gay been linked with Arsenal at the beginning of the window. So, I think we take this win. I'm very happy with it. I can't complain. I'm extremely happy with it. Let me just do that. Palace away. And let me take away... Where is this thing now? There we go. Boom. Right. So Arsenal obviously play Fulham on Saturday, 4 o'clock South African time. What I want to see is I want us to be close to peak, as in performing with an exciting style of play by the time we play Man United at the Emirates. So 2 Emirates Stadium games for us over the next 2 weeks. So I want us to obviously be a little bit more solid. We are still not quite solid enough when it comes to our home form. We're still conceding the silly counter-attacking goals. So Fulham, they've got a couple of players that can hurt us. Willian, I don't know what his story is, if he's still at the club. He obviously has a point to prove against us. He didn't play last season from what I can remember. I think he might have signed after they played us at the Emirates, and I can't remember. I think he might have been injured for the Craven Cottage games. I don't remember seeing much of him there in that over the 2 games. Obviously Bernd Leno, former keeper, is there, so 2 consecutive home games with former Arsenal goalkeepers. So obviously Forrest with Turner and now Bernd Leno this coming Saturday. He had a decent game. 2 games ago, I think they might have beaten Everton at Goodson. I think he had a very good game there. Then they've got Paulinho, who was on the bench, linked with Liverpool for loads of money. On the bench, probably coming back from injury, so he will be there as well. So a holding midfielder, quality holding midfielder. They've got Pereira, former Man United player. I think I read somewhere he was a very big Arsenal fan. Met Arsene Wenger before he ended up going to Man United. Also one of those stories again. So, Fulham's going to be very, very, very difficult team to contend with if they are allowed to get counter-attacking situations up against us. There is no Mitrovic, he's out. I know they've got the Vinicius guy that used to play for. Do they still have him? He might have been on loan, or they bought him, so they've got him. But I will go a little bit more in depth with Fulham. Have a look at their formation over the 2 games that they played. They obviously had Everton away win, and then I can't remember what they did this weekend, but we'll see how they go for this coming Saturday at the Emirates. I will go and deep dive into that game with my preview on my podcast. Let's go to the Arsenal women. So obviously we had the Women's World Cup. Now, there's so many controversies to this. First of all, there is loads of nations that actually would love the national associations to start investing in women's football more so. They are doing extremely well. The World Cup was extremely exciting, and I just don't understand why more people don't watch it. The big problem, obviously, is that the World Cup started so late that it ended up interfering with the leagues now. So obviously the Premier League, most watched league in the world, has been on for the last 2 weekends. So obviously important knockout games taking place round about the same time as key Premier League games. The World Cup final, for example. Okay, there wasn't actually a game. After the final, Chelsea played. Was it Chelsea that played? No, Chelsea played the late game. I can't remember who played. I think it was Aston Villa were at home to Everton. They smashed Everton. So that wasn't a huge game, but the week before, the Arsenal game took place, the Forest game took place while the England World Cup semi-final game was still taking place, or the quarter-final game, sorry. Overlapping, that's not great. But Spain, deserved world champs. So just a little backstory on Spain. So first of all, Barcelona has been dominating women's football for the last 5 years or so. A very similar story to the old Spain, the La Masia situation, where loads of young Spanish players was in the Barcelona team that did so well, and then the Spanish team that ended up winning the World Cup. Obviously Real Madrid in the men's side. The Real Madrid women's team starting to get better, but it's mostly Barcelona players. So there was apparently about 12 players from Barcelona that had various issues with the Spanish FA and with the coach that won them the World Cup. So there was a whole lot of issues before the World Cup. And then the lady that is in the middle there, that is the double reigning women's Ballon d'Or player of the year. She got a serious ACL problem, or it might have been MCL. Alexia Putellas, she's from Barcelona, and she barely played. She came on right at the end because of all this issues of ACLs and MCL injuries in the women's game recently. There's more. I think there's another 3 more players in the last week that got those injuries, knee issues. So obviously the women are playing so much games. There is talks of, first of all, the Arsenal preseason is ongoing. The women's, I think the Spanish had they didn't have a women's La Liga game, but there was a Barcelona preseason friendly on the same weekend where the Spanish women's national team was in a World Cup final with Barcelona players. But there were a lot of key Barcelona players playing for Barcelona due to all these issues. So that was a little bit disappointing to see. But fantastic World Cup. There is Ilstedt, so Arsenal signed her from PSG just prior to the World Cup, and she won the bronze ball. So not only did Sweden win the bronze medal, so Stina Blackstenius and Lena Hurtig, also Arsenal players. Ilstedt, our new centre-back signing, she scored 4 goals, but she also won the bronze ball, so the 3rd best player of the entire World Cup. And then, so the final, Spain deservedly winning it. It was 1-0, 1-0, with Spain also missing a penalty. The left back and captain of Spain, who's apparently, she scored the goal, dedicated the goal to her mother's friend that passed away, and then the sad news of her father passing away after the World Cup final. She found that out after the game. So absolutely gutting story to hear. So that was a little bit of a story there. Spain winning the World Cup. Dominant Spain. I wouldn't say they were dominant in this World Cup. They actually got beaten 4-0 by Japan in the group stages. But then they just obviously regrouped and they were able to then beat England in the final. So Spain, the world champions. There's also images of Arsenal players winning Man of the Match awards or Woman of the Match awards, and then the awesome news that very likely this week it will be confirmed that that lady over there, that is the left centre back for Spain, I can't get to her name now, completely slipped my mind, but we are signing her, and she's a left centre back, same as Ilstedt, who won the bronze ball. So probably they might play together. Arsenal obviously have some serious injuries as well in their team, but Arsenal will have a World Cup winner. Arsenal will have silver medal winners, 2 silver medal winners, and 3 bronze medal winners that will be returning to London Colney around about 7 or 8 days from today. Arsenal are playing the Women's Champions League in the second week of September. Or I think it's the second week of September. So it's a group stage whereby they will be playing against Linköping. It's a Swedish team, I think it is, in Sweden, and then they play the final of this little mini tournament. They then play against the 2 other teams that plays in that group, and then they go on to the main qualifying. So they could get a top team. Like last season, they got Ajax in that final round, and they beat Ajax. I think it might have been 2-1 on aggregate. Vivian Miedema scored in Amsterdam, and that's also where we got Victoria Pelova. So it's a Dutch player that did really well on the right side for the Netherlands. So that's actually where we ended up getting her. She was very good for Ajax against Arsenal, and then Arsenal ended up signing her. So I'm really looking forward to covering the Arsenal ladies this season. It's a very strong team, and especially if all these ACL and MCL injury player come back. I know Beth Mead is very likely going to make it for the start of the season. We play Liverpool in October at the Emirates Stadium. So I'm really looking forward to the upcoming women's season. And that's where I will leave it for today. Arsenal looking good. The academy is looking good as well. Under 18s winning, and the under 18s won and drew, and the under 21s won 2 games, and they were actually playing tonight in the Papa John's under 21 trophy. It was 1-1 at the time of the recording. So I'll also look at the Arsenal Academy results as well. Our under 18s had an awesome documentary on the Arsenal.com website. Our Arsenal ladies are 2 episodes in there. Documentary, a fantastic documentary so far. I think Arsenal do amazing documentaries. Would be awesome if Arsenal can cover the team as well. It doesn't need to be an Amazon documentary. It doesn't need to be in depth with Arteta following them around the whole time. But I would really like a nice documentary as well, whether we win or lose this upcoming season, because I think we do amazing documentaries. So I'm going to leave it there. Arsenal doing well, 6 points out of 6. We've got Fulham at the Emirates on Saturday, and then probably playing Man United the following Sunday after that, or the Saturday evening. I haven't checked when we're playing them in terms of time, but normally one of those evening kickoffs. And then it's the international break, so hopefully then no further issues when it comes to that. No more further injuries as well. We've had enough now. Timber and Jesus. Hopefully Jesus is back before that Man United game so that he can actually participate in it. If not, then after the international break. So I think Arsenal are on a good footing. Up the Gunners!
Cadence.